Hello, I'd like to show you a brief tutorial on how to work with 3D modeling using AutoCAD. This AutoCAD 2021. So first of all, I'm going to open a new drawing. So I'm going to press Start Drawing. Okay, there we go. So I've got a nice blank slate here. Now, by default, AutoCAD will come with, looks like graph paper here. See that? I don't personally like that. So I'm going to shut off my drawing grid. F7, function key 7 will do that. So first things first, let me get to the Home tab. This is generally how you look at AutoCAD when you first launch it. This is the Home tab. These are 2D. In the status bar, you're going to find a little gear wheel. This is Workspace Switching. WS Current is the typewritten command. If you press that, what you're going to see all along, I've been showing you drafting and annotation. Drafting and annotation is 2D, but you've got 3D basics and 3D modeling. So first things first, I'm going to go and check 3D basics on. It's going to change your ribbon up top. Now this is 3D basics, but I'm going to kind of describe things here. First of all, you've got to create ribbon. Let's create ribbon. So what do I see in there? On the very far left says box. Now box has a drop down menu. If I hit the drop down menu, these are what they call are the primitives. So like box, cylinder, cone, sphere, pyramid, wedge, torus, and one of my favorites, polysolid. Okay, again, these are what they call primitives. They might seem like, geometry in math class, and that's because they literally are. Next to that, under the create a ribbon as well, you get extrude. Now what extrude does is it'll take a 2D shape and give it length. So you're going to want to specify length with the number pad. Next to that, revolve. Now revolve works kind of like extrude. You're going to take a 2D shape, but with revolve you need to specify an axis. And along that axis you can create a three-dimensional rotation around an axis. Loft will take two different 2D shapes and kind of combine them together. Notice it gives you a little pictorial. See that? If you wait long enough, it'll fly out. It'll tell you what it does. It kind of lofts things between them. Sweep. Sweep will take a 2D shape, kind of like extrude, but you can sweep it along a path. Next to that, you get the edit ribbon. And in here, one of my favorites, press pull. So with press pull, you can take a 2D shape, and it kind of works like extrude. You can press or pull it different directions. Union, subtract, and intersect. These are Boolean operations, okay? Union will take two objects that are different and combine them. Subtract will remove from one object the other. Intersect will find a difference between. Some of these commands you might already know. Like in the draw ribbon, I see line, I see arc, polyline, spline, right? Next to that, I've got polygon, rectangle, circle, ellipse. Then you get the modify commands too. All these work in 3D world. Culling. Between vertices, you get an edge. If you have all edges that close together, you'll get a polygon. The way I like to think of culling is this. It's like throwing a fishnet on a polygon surface. So it'll take one polygon and break it down into other polygons. Filter selection, I'm not really going to talk about. Gizmo. I will talk about the gizmo. Now you may have seen the gizmo before. If you go to customize status bar down in the lower right, you can actually check gizmo on or off. I already have mine checked. What it's going to look like, it's going to kind of look like a wireframe box. And if it's on, if it's active, it's going to be blue. To shut it off, you could turn it gray. When it's gray, it's color coded. But when it's blue, it just kind of looks like a wireframe little box there. We're going to use move gizmo, but it's not only the move gizmo. You got the rotate gizmo, the scale gizmo, or even no gizmo. You could change it here. Coordinate system. You can play around with the coordinate system. For example, assign 2x's to every y and z, but I generally don't show anybody how to do that. Layers, by now, we've all are pretty good at working through layers. Something else. We already know about the view cube and the compass. And underneath here, is your coordinate system. WCS. CS is coordinate system. This is the world coordinate system. Again, you can program these different. Your navigation bar, we already talked about that. Status bar, I think we talked about that. Now I'm in decimal. Notice that if I customize my status bar is units, decimal, so units, decimal, architecture, right? Here's a quick and easy way to change one type of drawing units to the other. Make sure units is checked on. I'm going to change mine from decimal to architectural. So now I'm in architectural units. The typewriting command, by the way, is UNITS, units. That's the other way to change it. So in the command bar, we talked about that. We've used layout sheets. Kind of looks like a piece of paper, okay? Yeah, we've already used that. Let me go back to the model tab. Okay, up here, your viewport configuration. Right now, I'm drawing in 2D wireframe. Okay, there's other visualization styles I'm going to talk about shortly. Top view, well, that's the same as your view cube. Over here, see the little minus button? That kind of lets you customize things. For example, let's say I don't want that navigation bar anymore. I can turn it off. See that? Or turn it back on. And so we're going to get back to the visual style here shortly. Right now, again, I'm 2D wireframe. There's another place you can find it. You can find it under view. I think, let me see. Maybe it's not view. Maybe it's visualize. Yes, visualize tab right next to the home tab. 2D wireframe. You can change your visualization style here too, which we'll do shortly. Okay, there's different ones: conceptual, hidden, realistic, shaded with edges, shades of gray, sketchy, wireframe, and X-ray. One of my favorites, X-ray. So we're gonna work on a 3D model here shortly. Let me go and switch my workspace one more time because I want to go a little deeper with this brief overview. 3D modeling workspace. I'm going to now switch from 3D basics to 3D modeling. You're going to see some of the same things, but you get more commands. You get more commands in the ribbon. So box, extrude, we already talked about that. Mesh. Now there's two main differences of 3D models I should talk about. You get surfaces. For example, one of the type commands is surf patch. SURFPATCH, surf patch. I kind of like that one because it'll kind of create a surface along any edge on any axis. So that's just an example. So you get solids, which box and things like that, they're going to be solids. You can do things like Boolean, subtract, union, and intersect with those. But surfaces and meshes, those are a little bit different. They're just going to be like a two-dimensional flat plane, even though it's on a three-dimensional axis. So you get a main difference here I need to explain. You get solids and surfaces and solids, meshes and primitives, okay? But here again, I'm probably going to use this on a project I'm going to show you. One of the other ones I want to show you is section plane. So you can actually left click, left click, left click, pick 3 points. It'll produce a section plane that cuts through objects that you've created. So here again, it also gives you the visual style here too. See that? So very important, very important. Some of you will get into the mechanical portion of things where you can add constraints, okay? You can dimension things mechanically and constrain things. So that's kind of important too. Annotate. We've been through this like dimension, multi-line text, multi-line leaders, okay? Things of that nature. What else? Visualize. We're going to use this over here. We've got a material browser. See the one that looks like a disco ball, right? That's going to be your material browser. We're going to get to that one shortly. So you guys remember for materials, I think that the keyboard shortcut key is actually, I think on that one there isn't a shortcut key. You got to type material browser open thing. But just remember to look for the disco ball. You guys remember disco? Yeah, I'm trying to forget. Anyhow, that's a joke. Sorry about that. Lights, we're going to use this one too here shortly too. So different lights and things like that. The sun status, we're going to use that as well. So I'm going to pause this video and we'll get into a 3D model for you. Okay, render, I should mention this one too. See the one that looks like a teapot? It's always been an AutoCAD symbol for render. Now render is kind of like a Polaroid picture. So it's going to take time to develop. If you guys remember Polaroid pictures, well, it was a camera that would actually print the photograph right there for you. So it would print a little photograph out there for you. It took time to process. We used to have to shake them in the air because there was some type of chemical reaction, and it would develop given a few moments there. Same thing with render here, and you can control the render. You can kind of make it high definition, things of that nature. A lot of this goes back into photography. So we're going to get into a 3D project here shortly, but I wanted to introduce the interface for you first.